If you have ever felt that tightening in your chest and said nothing, this is for you. Silence rarely feels dramatic. It feels small, it feels reasonable, it feels temporary. You tell yourself it is not the right moment. You tell yourself someone else will say it. You tell yourself it is not worth the friction. But that moment is not random. It follows a pattern. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. In the next few minutes, you will see why people stay silent in groups, even when the problem is obvious. You will see how social exposure shapes behavior, how responsibility dissolves in public. And near the end, you will see why silence protects identity more than it protects truth. That part is uncomfortable, because it is not about courage, it is about belonging. Imagine a team meeting that has run 30 minutes over. The manager leans over a laptop and suggests removing a safety check to hit a deadline. You look at the spreadsheet and see the error. You feel a slight heat rise in your neck. The room is quiet. You wait for someone else to speak. No one does. The moment passes. This is not stupidity. It is diffusion. When responsibility is shared, it feels lighter. When it feels lighter, it feels optional. If you are the kind of person who notices patterns in people, you have seen this play out in real time. In classic experiments, people were asked to match the length of lines on a card. When everyone else in the room gave a clearly wrong answer, the last person often agreed with them. The lines did not match. The answer was obvious, yet they chose the group over their own eyes, not because they were confused, because disagreement creates exposure. Exposure feels risky. Silence feels safe. Now look at a group chat that lights up late at night. Someone shares a take that feels misleading. The reactions stack up quickly, with thumbs up and fire emojis. You type a response that points out the flaw. Your thumb hovers over the send button. You imagine the notifications lighting up your screen with counter-arguments. You delete the draft. The digital crowd feels just as real as a physical one. That calculation happens in seconds. It is not about knowledge. It is about cost. Humans are deeply social. Belonging feels like safety. Standing alone feels like separation, and separation triggers alarm. Be honest, you have seen this happen before. Once the group signals agreement, silence becomes the default. Speaking becomes the deviation, and most people avoid deviation. Consider a performance review or feedback session. The data on the screen shows a clear decline. A peer is being blamed for a systemic failure that was not their fault. You have the context that would clear them. You open your mouth to speak. Then you see the director nod in agreement with the blame. The air in the room feels heavy. You realize that speaking up would shift attention toward you. You look at your peer. You look at the director. You choose the room. You can feel this when it happens to you. The body registers it before the mind explains it. Why does the group reward the wrong answer? Because it preserves the status quo. A group protects its stability. Accuracy is secondary. Cohesion comes first. Anything that threatens that cohesion is treated as a problem, even when it is true. Here's what often happens next. The mind reframes silence as maturity. It calls hesitation patience. It labels avoidance as strategy. This is the part most people do not like to admit. It is a clever survival mechanism. It lets you stay quiet without confronting the real reason. But look closely. Is it strategy or just the path of least resistance? Silence often protects self-image more than it protects relationships. This is the moment your sense of what is acceptable begins to shift. The discomfort fades. The group feels normal again. You are no longer outside the agreement. You are inside it. This is how a culture of silence is built. Not through a sudden collapse of ethics, through a series of small, logical surrenders. The meeting where you stayed quiet. The thread you did not join. The joke you did not challenge at a dinner table. Each moment feels minor. Each moment feels reasonable. Each moment reinforces the pattern. Once you notice it, you see it everywhere. In organizations where flawed decisions survive because no one wants to be first. In politics where narratives spread because opposition stays quiet. In social movements where internal doubts are suppressed to preserve unity. In relationships where problems go unspoken until they harden into resentment. You are probably thinking of someone specific right now. The mechanism is consistent. Responsibility diffuses. Exposure feels risky. Belonging feels necessary. Identity resists disruption, so people wait. They wait for someone else to speak. They wait for a safer moment. They wait for consensus to shift. Sometimes it never does. If you tend to see what others miss, You know the price of this waiting. The cost of speaking up feels immediate. The cost of staying silent is cumulative. It shows up months or years later as a failed project or a broken trust. But by then, the silence has already done its work. If you remember nothing else, remember this. People do not stay silent because they lack awareness. They stay silent because social cost feels heavier than moral discomfort. Belonging often wins over accuracy. Relief often wins over resistance. And identity quietly shapes both. Silence is not confusion. It is calculation. The real question is not why others stay silent. It is when you do. In the next video, we will look at what happens to the person who finally speaks up, why groups often turn against the one who tells the truth, and what separates the people who get pushed out from the ones who shift the room. If you want to understand the hidden forces shaping behavior in rooms, meetings, and movements, this channel is built for that. Now, think about the last time you stayed silent. Was it in a meeting, in a group chat, or at a dinner table? Where did it happen?